The archdiocese later removed and replaced those sections of the gate. But to this day, visitors say they can still see faint impressions, ghostly reminders of the night she tried to return home. Even maintenance workers reported strange events. Lights flickering, footsteps echoing through the empty grounds, and the faint scent of perfume near Mary's supposed grave, even in the dead of winter. It's here that Resurrection Mary earned her name. A spirit not at peace, forever tied to the road between the living and the dead. From the 1930s onward, Resurrection Mary has been seen by dozens, perhaps hundreds, of people. And every decade adds new layers to the mystery. In the early days, most sightings came from young men leaving the O. Henry Ballroom. One man claimed he danced with her all night, describing her as beautiful but strangely cold to the touch. When he offered her a ride home, she vanished near the cemetery gates. Local newspapers at the time, including the Chicago Tribune, recorded stories from credible witnesses, giving the legend a frightening level of authenticity. The 1950s, 1960s, the police reports, the police officers themselves began filing reports. One officer swore he picked up a girl near Archer Avenue who disappeared from the back seat before he could even turn to ask her name. Another officer saw a woman matching Mary's description walking directly into the cemetery fence and passing through it. The official reports never mentioned ghosts, only unidentified female, presumed lost, but locals knew better. The Burned Gate incident. In the mid-1970s, as Chicago's suburbs expanded, so did Mary's legend. Paranormal researchers began visiting the site, trying to capture evidence. It was during this time that the Burned Gate photograph surfaced, 2 iron bars warped outward, with scorched hand imprints visible. The cemetery's caretaker blamed vandals, but no one ever confessed. And the marks, when tested, showed no trace of chemical or physical tampering, only heat. Even in the modern age, the stories didn't stop. Taxi drivers, Uber passengers, and late-night commuters reported encounters eerily similar to those from the 1930s. One driver in 1999 claimed a young blonde woman entered his cab outside a club on Archer Avenue. She gave him an address. Then, mid-drive, she whispered, "The road ends here." He turned around. She was gone. Surveillance cameras from nearby businesses sometimes flicker or distort around the cemetery gates, as if something unseen disrupts the signal. No one can explain it. But every generation seems to have its own Resurrection Mary story, each one eerily identical to the last. Who was the real Resurrection Mary? That's the question that has haunted Chicago historians and paranormal researchers for decades. Many believe she wasn't just a story, but a real girl who lived, danced, and died on that lonely road. Among the most convincing theories is that Mary was actually Mary Bregovy, a 21-year-old girl of Polish descent who died in a car accident in 1934. She lived in the Brighton Park neighborhood of Chicago and was known for her love of dancing, especially at the O. Henry Ballroom. On March 10, 1934, Mary was killed when the car she was in collided with another vehicle on the loop. She suffered fatal injuries and was later buried at, you guessed it, Resurrection Cemetery. Eyewitnesses who later claimed to have seen Resurrection Mary described her appearance as nearly identical to Mary Bregovy. Light hair, fair skin, blue eyes, and a passion for dancing. Even the dress, a pale white gown, matched her burial clothing as described in funeral records. Could it be coincidence? Or was the restless spirit of Mary Bregovy doomed to retrace her final night again and again? Others believe she could have been another young woman from the 1920s or 1930s, perhaps one whose death went unrecorded or forgotten. One story tells of a woman who left the O. Henry Ballroom after an argument with her boyfriend and was struck by a vehicle near the cemetery gates, the exact origin of the hitchhiker tale. Some say that's the same Mary. Others say it's someone else entirely, a lost soul who wanders the road seeking closure. The Archdiocese of Chicago has never officially commented on the legend. Cemetery staff have denied the existence of any haunted areas, but multiple former workers have quietly admitted that something feels different near the North Gate after dark. Visitors leave flowers, candles, and handwritten notes addressed to Mary, asking her to rest in peace. None have ever received a reply, but some claim the candles flicker on their own. Though decades have passed, Resurrection Mary refuses to fade into legend. Her story breathes through the city, passed down from one generation to the next, retold by cab drivers, police, and locals who swear they've seen her. One of the most chilling modern accounts came from a cab driver named Ralph. He picked up a young woman in white outside a dance hall. She was quiet, polite, and pale, almost glowing under the dashboard light. She asked to be dropped near the cemetery, pointing ahead with an unsteady hand. When the car stopped, she turned to Ralph and whispered, "I have to go now. They're waiting for me." She stepped out, walked toward the gates, and vanished before his eyes. Her footprints in the snow ended halfway across the road. In the early 2000s, a security guard patrolling near Archer Avenue caught something strange on his camera feed, a faint, white figure crossing the road near Resurrection Cemetery at 2:47 a.m. It was blurry, translucent, and appeared to fade through a fence post. Local police dismissed it as fog, but paranormal investigators saw it differently. The footage, they said, was one of the strongest visual proofs of Resurrection Mary's existence. Even today, drivers report strange incidents on the same stretch of road. In 2014, a rideshare driver picked up a woman in a vintage-style dress near Willow Springs. She said little during the ride, staring out the window in silence. As the car passed Resurrection Cemetery, the driver turned to ask if she was all right, and the seat was empty. No door opened. No sound. She was simply gone. Witnesses in 2018 and 2020 reported similar events. A faint woman in white, always near the same stretch of Archer Avenue, walking toward the cemetery gates, her figure glowing softly under the streetlights before fading into the mist. The world has changed. Cars, cameras, technology, but Mary remains the same. A girl forever walking home. Every great ghost story walks the line between faith and disbelief. Resurrection Mary is no exception. For nearly a century, her legend has split Chicago in two: those who swear they've seen her, and those who insist there must be a logical explanation. Skeptics argue that the sightings can be explained by psychological and environmental factors, a combination of memory distortion, lighting illusions, or even optical reflections from car headlights against fog. Some claim that drivers on Archer Avenue may have been tired, intoxicated, or influenced by the long-told legend itself, seeing what they expected to see. After all, if you drive down a haunted road at midnight, your mind may fill in the blanks your eyes can't explain. A few investigators also suggest Resurrection Mary might have begun as a composite story, combining several local tragedies into one powerful legend. Chicago in the 1920s and 1930s saw numerous car accidents involving young women returning from dances. Over time, these stories may have merged into a single ghostly archetype, the Vanishing Hitchhiker. But believers argue otherwise. They point to the consistency of sightings, spanning nearly a century, by witnesses who never met and told eerily similar stories.